The other thing that I'd like to call out is the presence of the chat box. Karen and Brooke have already started to use it to say hello. Please feel free to use it to say hello, to ask questions, post reactions, comments, or anything else that you might want a response either from me or from the folks joining the webinar tonight from. The last thing that I want to point out is that there are a couple of polls in the poll section. There are just two. One, have you used our editor? And two, have you used the Screencastify extension? That'll just make sure that I tailor the content to where you guys are at. I don't plan on spending a ton of time talking about the ways in which one can use Screencastify. If you've used it before, then you know that it's pretty simple. Instead, I'm hoping to spend a little bit of time talking about things that are new in the pipeline and ways that you guys can get involved with Screencastify a little bit more. But of course, if there is a need or desire to learn a little bit more about the functionality of Screencastify, I'll also share some resources and some knowledge about the ways in which you can do that as well. So if that sounds okay to you guys, we are actually going to get started with just a really quick rundown of what Screencastify is. So thank you so much for joining us again, from all the way around the world, different time zones, different priorities. Again, it means the world to us, and I hope that you get quite a bit out of today's presentation, and you feel even more invigorated to use Screencastify after. So the first thing that I just want to preview for the few of you guys who are not familiar with Screencastify, Screencastify is a Chrome extension that integrates very well with Google. In fact, so well that every video that you record within Screencastify is automatically saved to your Google Drive. So that's particularly helpful because we never own the videos, you guys always do, which makes it particularly a good solution if you are very student privacy oriented. We also have annotation tools, quick video trimming, and other things that make this what we believe to be one of the simplest tools for educators to use in order to create videos for their students or any audience. We've also done a lot to make sure that teachers are able to share videos to the platforms that matter to them, particularly around Google Classroom. We've actually made some innovations with that since the start of school closures. You can also share videos to YouTube, send videos, and email. In normal times, we are very committed to having a free version of Screencastify for now and forever, which usually allows you to record up to 5 minutes per recording, but has no limit on the amount of recordings that a student or teacher can make per month. So that is something that we are very proud to offer. We do realize that we are in very uncertain times for education, and what was normally a pretty robust free version that limited educators to 5 minutes per recording is now something that is not necessarily as useful when we are all finding new ways to connect with our students. So that has been a part of our response to COVID, which I'll actually detail a little bit as well. So before we get started with what our response to COVID actually was, I kind of wanted to share this graph with you that we've shared internally at Screencastify and has been particularly mind-boggling. What you might notice is that for the past couple of years since we've been looking at data in about 2015, the amount of educators who have used Screencastify has been relatively constant. We see some dips over the summer when folks aren't creating as many videos, but for the most part, everything has kind of remained the same. This large spike increase that you see is basically what has happened since March. So we've seen a crazy amount of educators and students use Screencastify in order to create videos to connect with each other. And we also recognize that we're in this kind of time where we are apart, but still looking for ways in which we can connect. So it became quickly apparent to us that we needed to do something in order to help teachers, students, and other folks use Screencastify in order to continue education in these uncertain times. So that brought our response to COVID-19. We recognize that there are about 3 things that really matter to educators and really matter to us as a company. The first one is that educators need access to products. There are products now that people need that they might not have needed just 2 months ago. The other thing that's particularly important is they need information, which is part of the reason that we're gathered today in this information sharing. I see a lot of you guys are sharing information about using keyboard shortcuts and other things of that nature, We are all using tools either in new ways that we would have never thought of before, or we're using tools that we never used prior to the classroom shutting down. So we need a ton of information to make sure that we're in a position to use those tools effectively. And I know that folks are leaning on people like you guys as innovators and trainers in order to make sure that they get all of the help that they need. I know that your inboxes have been inundated with requests for help, and that people are truly, truly looking at you guys to provide guidance. And the other thing that folks need during this time from people like us who are at the helm of these ed tech companies is that we need development. There are so many different ways that people are using tools. Things like Google Meet have had to change to adapt, and we have as well. So I'll go over some of the ways that we've adapted in order to fit COVID-19. So in terms of product access, we actually have 3 products that we hold and maintain. The first one is the one that you guys are likely more familiar with, which is a Screencastify recorder, which allows you to create screen recordings, webcam recordings, and share those to Classroom, Drive, YouTube, or just about anywhere else in the world you'd like to share that video. We have provided unlimited access with absolutely no limits. We recognize that teachers are creating videos that go far beyond 5 minutes, and we want to support that. So it has been completely free. We've created a coupon code, and we've made sure that everybody who asks us has access to it. The other thing that we've done is that our editor has been completely unlocked to allow full access to educators and students. We also realize that perhaps educators are wanting to make more polished videos during this time, or they are looking for ways to merge multiple videos. We have given that away for free, and thus far, more than 100,000 educators have taken us up on that. And that number grows by at least 5,000 every day. So we are 100% really excited to be able to support distance learning in that regard. The third thing that we've done that I think is perhaps the most exciting is that we've opened up access to our new product, Screencastify Submit, which allows students to actually record videos and submit them directly to our teachers. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but basically we were creating a product that we thought hopefully we will be able to release in July. As a result of everything that has happened, we accelerated the development of Screencastify Submit and have made that free to educators for at least through the summer to make sure that they have time to reach their students now and also time to reach students during this uncertain summer as well. The last thing that we've done is we also recognize that this is a time where educators are looking for solutions that are not just temporary, but are more permanent, particularly those of you who sit at the helms of technology at the district level. So we have also discounted all use of school and district plans and extended them through 2021. Every single day as an individual, not necessarily as a Screencastify employee, things grow more uncertain, and it's unlikely to me that we will actually be able to get out of our houses or that outside will open up. And I think for a lot of you guys, that has been something as well. So you're looking for tools that not only exist for now, but tools that are going to exist throughout the next couple of years, which is one of the reasons why we have opened up that access as well. On the product education front, we know that y'all have been bogged down by a lot of people wanting more information about how to use products. So we've increased our product education as well. So the first thing that we've done is we've newly revamped the Master the Screencast course. What you might have noticed is that in January, we actually completely revamped all of Screencastify, that video page and also our editor to give you guys more options. So we've changed our Master the Screencast course in favor of some of the things that we've done for the extension. We've created a new YouTube help page so that we can quickly and easily send links to folks with new videos that show how to do common things in the extension. We've also created the new Submit beta community on Google Groups. So if you would like to join the Google group for Screencastify Submit, I will also share a little bit more information about that. We've also created e-learning resources for districts and educators around how to use video. One of the cool things about Screencastify is that we always believe that we are video enthusiasts, not necessarily just Screencastify enthusiasts, but we truly and deeply believe that a video integrated classroom is one that provides more more access to students, and one that allows students to learn in a way that is more efficient and better. So all of our techniques and all of our education has been around ways in which educators can use video, completely agnostic to whether they use Screencastify or not. Of course, we have an opinion on what the best video creation tool might be, but regardless of what tool educators use, if they're using video, we regard that as a win, not only for our company, but also as a win for EdTech. I also just want to share a few things that we have done on the product development side that I think have really helped educators during this time. The one thing that I think that we have done is to continuously keep our ear to the ground and make sure that we are continuously evolving the product for ways in which educators need to create. So the first thing is that we've made it even easier to share a classroom. We noticed that educators were getting more requests for sharing permissions, and we noticed, okay, that's what we do. We need to change it, and we have. We've made it a lot easier so that pressing the Share to Classroom button is exactly what educators need to do to open up access for all of their students. The other thing that we've done, as we showed, there has been a massive spike in usage, something that was previously unforeseen. To give you just a small glimpse into the magnitude of it, we had more people use our editor in the first 3 days of April than folks who use it in the entire month of March. So we've completely updated the back end of the editor to make sure that we can handle the increased usage. It's never okay for us to have educators not be able to use one of our tools. And if we have to stay up all night to make sure that the tools are ready for educators to use, we want to do it, and we did do it for the editor. And the last thing that we've done is we've improved our YouTube integration. We noticed that educators were creating longer videos, and those weren't necessarily playing the nicest with YouTube. So we've made some updates to the API to make sure that everything continues if an educator wants to share a 5-minute video or a 25-minute video. And we're super proud of the small changes that we've been able to make that hopefully makes folks' lives easier. So you might be wondering what's coming next. And I think that that's the really, really exciting thing about Screencastify is that we've done a lot already in response to how educators have reformed education, but we plan to do so much more. So I was thinking about a gift that might be appropriate for what is coming in the next couple of months for Screencastify. And this is the best that I could come up with. We just plan to change the game. We know that there is a crop of educators who are now so much more comfortable with video, and a crop of educators in general. We want to harness that, and we hope that when educators get back to brick and mortar classrooms, that they're still able to use technology to access students that they might not have been able to access normally. So if we can do anything to help with that, if we can reshape our products to make sure that folks continue to have access, that's exactly what we need to do. If we handle this right, then the fundamental landscape of education has changed, and hopefully it has changed for the better toward being more equitable, toward being more accessible. And we hope that our products are just one thing that is emblematic of that change. So the first thing that we've done, and I'm really, really excited about this because it's supposed to come out in the next couple of weeks, is we've partnered with our friends at Edpuzzle. One of the things that we have been told over and over again is that while teachers want to engage in video creation, and they love the fact that they're able to create videos that actually are for them, they also want to provide some degree of assessment and accountability. So we've partnered with Edpuzzle so that you can create videos in Screencastify and then send those over to Edpuzzle in order to add more features. So those features might include accountability, knowing which students have viewed your video and for how long they've actually been able to view them. It might include engagement, so doing things like adding questions to video and making sure that students are actually watching and getting the most out of videos. The third thing is some flexibility, so allowing you to change things up and add notes throughout the video as well. And finally, some degree of assessment. I also want to just stop really quickly and say one thing that I had not planned to share, but I do want to make sure that I share it. So I saw a comment over here about the lack of equity around digital education, which is so true. We live in a digital divide. And one thing that I do want to share is that Screencastify videos actually can be recorded offline. And that's an intentional choice that we made years and years ago in order to make sure that folks had the opportunity to at least record while they were offline, and to make sure that those videos were uploaded once they were able to restore internet access. So this Edpuzzle integration, kind of going back, should be available in the next couple of weeks. So I will share a little bit more information about how you guys can get involved with our email list and things like that. So I will send out an email for those folks interested once this is available. But it is something that we are actively working on and should be available by both teams in about 2 weeks. The other thing that we've done is we've officially welcomed Screencastify Submit, which is a brand new product that is open for beta right now, which means that anybody who signed up for our beta, and I hope that some of you guys will decide to sign up to be beta testers, will have free access through June 30th of this year. So you'll have not only this time, but also some more time during the summer to sign up and help us test. So Submit works this way, which I think is super awesome. So the first thing that you do is you create an assignment as a teacher. You give it a title, and we actually create a folder within your Google Drive with that title. And then you create an assignment description. So when students receive the link, which I'll tell you a little bit more about that link in 1 second, they'll actually see the title of the assignment and the description that you've created as well. So include hyperlinks in that link, include everything that you would want students to know. Even think about it as the direct instruction that you would normally provide in a classroom setting in written format, so that students know exactly what they need to do. The next step is that you decide the settings. So you can decide whether you want students to record their screen and their microphone, or whether you want this to be a webcam only recording. You also can get email notifications whenever a student submits an assignment if you're looking particularly closely, or get rid of those if you don't necessarily want to be bothered every time. And then you also get the option to share the folder with participants. So this will allow them to see what their classmates have submitted within Google Drive, that secure community that you set up. Once you've done that, you'll get what we call a magic link. So you can either copy that magic link and paste it anywhere, or you can actually use our Google Classroom integration within Submit to paste that link directly into a classroom assignment or some other type. On the student side, this is what they see. Without any extension and without any need to create a student account, so those students simply sign up with their Google email address, similar to the flow within Screencastify. They'll see your assignment title and your assignment description, as well as a button to record. Once they record, that assignment video is directly submitted to your Google Drive. So you'll have instant access to everything that your students have created. Your students can also share that video to Google Classroom if you'd like them to, but they certainly don't need to. And as well as download that video if they'd like to have access. But they'll also have access to that saved video in the Shared With Me section of their Google Classroom. So this is the first iteration of Submit. As I shared before, this is something that we've accelerated development to make more public in the future. But we do plan on adding more features and doing more. But in the short term, right now, Submit is a new way to request video participation, particularly no extensions, no student accounts. All videos are saved to your Google Drive and already integrated with Google Classroom. And we have a pretty big announcement that's actually coming in the next couple of weeks based on the feedback that we've gotten from participants in the Submit beta community already. Screencastify, for the first time, will be integrated with Android devices. We heard from you guys that a lot of students are using their cell phones in order to go through all of the things that they're doing and might not have access to actual devices. So we made sure that webcam assignments will be compatible with Android devices, and we're working to make sure that it's compatible with everything. But I can say confidently that folks will be able to submit webcam assignments on Android devices in the next couple of weeks, which is particularly awesome for our educators who are working in non-one-to-one environments. I'm going to stop there for just a second. I know that I have shared a lot of information about Screencastify Submit and a little bit more about what's coming on the Screencastify end. If there are any questions whatsoever, and I see a couple that have popped up, I do want to just give a little bit of time to be able to share that as well. So I saw Mariana's question, and it looks like a few of you guys have helped her out already. But if you go to our website under Products and Submit, you can request early access to the Screencastify Submit beta community. Again, it is completely free, and we would love for y'all to join because the folks who are in the beta community now will be able to help us decide what the future of Screencastify Submit will look like. Which also brings me to Megan's question. I do anticipate a ton more robust features for Submit. We already have included the ability for hyperlinks to work within the description. I can definitely see a world in which we allow folks to actually attach documents and things of that nature. What we really, really want is that we need y'all to join the community. Let us know what you'd like to see so that we can build it and make it as best as possible prior to school opening in August. So if you have strong opinions about Submit, we would love to have you, whether they be good opinions, bad opinions, or somewhere in between. That is what allows us to make products better, and the more feedback we get, the better. So I want to spend just a little bit of time thinking about ways in which y'all can get involved with us. So it means the world to us that people are sharing Screencastify, that people are talking about it. And we know that the reason that we are growing so exponentially fast is because folks have recommended Screencastify during this uncertain time. And that means absolutely the world to us. And we hope that that continues to happen, not because we've paid folks to do it, not because we have bribed people in any way, but because they genuinely have an interest in us and the products that we provide, and they feel like they are going to impact education in positive ways. So we hope that you continue to feel that way, and as a result, want to get involved. So I'm going to detail just a couple of ways in which you might be able to get involved with Screencastify in the future. The first of which is we would love for you to join us at conferences. This year, we've had the opportunity to meet educators in Ohio, Texas, Illinois, and Wisconsin. And we hope to meet educators in more venues next year. So provided that conferences are safe from a public health perspective, if you plan to be at conferences, we'd absolutely love for you to join the Screencastify team, perhaps take an opportunity to present on our booth, or at the very least come by to say hi to us in person and learn a little bit more about some of the additional things that we might have coming in the pipeline. The other thing that I ask of you is something that you guys are doing already, creating amazing content. We know that so many folks within this community have created amazing things that have inspired educators to use videos in new and exciting ways to engage all of their students. Every time you do that, it's a win for us. It's also a win for the educational community as a whole. This is just a small representation of the amazing things that y'all have done, from webinars to blog posts to tweets and everything in between. We know that the education community as a whole is made better when you guys share your ideas and talk about ways in which folks can engage their students in this digital context. We also want you to help us determine the direction of Submit. One thing that we are really, really proud of is that at least half of our staff has some education experience. We are classroom teachers who are using our experience in order to shape the direction of Screencastify. But we also recognize that we are classroom teachers who have never taught in remote learning. Even though I taught just 2 years ago, I don't have the experience that some of you guys are doing right now where you have to engage your students in this remote model. We also realize that not being with students every day might make us a little bit farther away from some of the things that you guys know and some of the ways in which you guys approach product development. So we really really hope that you guys sign up to be a part of the Screencastify Submit community, and that you are vocal about the ways in which we ought to change Submit to meet the needs of educators and their students. If you guys are familiar with Trello, we've created a Trello board where educators and anybody involved in the Submit community can tell us their ideas. From there, you can upvote the ideas that make the most sense to you, downvote perhaps the ones that you don't like, or add comments to give us more context for the things that we ought to create. We are actively checking this on an hour-by-hour, day-by-day basis. So we are 100% committed to doing as many things as we can to respond to the things that educators would really like to see within Submit, as well as within the recorder as a whole. We've also created a Google group for Submit beta testers in order to make sure that we have a way to connect. One of the really cool things that has come out of this is not only one directional in communication from the Screencastify team to educators, but that we've been able to have educators talking to other educators and educators talking to our team. So the Google group community is pretty awesome because it includes educators sharing assignments that they've created within Submit, educators sharing best practices, and just connecting over using a brand new tool altogether. So I'm really, really excited about the fact that we have created this Google group community and led our first foray into person-to-person communication around Screencastify. So those are some of the ways that you can get involved with us, that you can be a part of our community, and that you can also be a part of Screencastify Submit. So I'm going to send information about joining all of those things, particularly around joining our Trello community, around joining the Submit beta, and obviously around joining the Google group so that hopefully you share some of your ideas and you help other educators in ways that you have. I think what's really cool about this is that even though we are in a time in which there are folks who are obviously a little bit more technology inclined than others, we are also in a time in which everybody is essentially a first-year teacher. Nobody has done this before. We are reframing what education looks like. And I get the opportunity to speak to my mom, who's a 30-year vet, and talk about ways that she might be able to use technology with her special education students. And we all are thinking of ways in which education can fundamentally be reframed by the situation that we're in. So I know that I committed to this just being a 30-minute chat. So I want to spend just a little bit more time to make sure if there are any questions or anything that I can answer, that I give some time for that. But also very cognizant that we are getting close to the 6:30 mark. If there are any questions whatsoever that you guys have not had an opportunity to ask, please let me know. Martino, great question. So the question here was, is there an iPhone app coming? I will not say that there's an iPhone app coming, but we do know and we are actively investigating ways to make Submit compatible with iOS devices. So that is something that we are hoping to see in the future, and our team is actively investigating now. Hey, Kelly, stay tuned for the official Screencastify Edpuzzle integration. We are testing it internally right now, and everything is working pretty well. So we are hoping to have that out in the next couple of weeks, perhaps even next week if things go particularly well. But we will definitely let y'all know. Melanie, good question around requesting access to the editor. I will also send over some information around using that free access that we've extended to all educators, which will grant you free access to the editor as well. Thank you for that nudge. Joseph, amazing question. Yes, so we are using Google single sign-on technology. So educators and students would be able to sign on with their domain and then would be able to go ahead and log in to Submit. For students who do not have email signed on, That is interesting. I would be interested to know a little bit more about your specific context. So, for example, if a student is unable to receive emails but is able to sign in, then perhaps that would still work. But if that is something that is not working in your district, that's very valuable feedback. It might be a way in which we can reframe and submit to work for some of those primary kids who don't have email turned on. So that's kind of the feedback that we're looking for. Thank you for positing that question. So awesome. I love this question about staying in the loop, and we hope that you guys want to stay in the loop, that you're intrigued by some of the things that we're doing. I'll send out an email to you guys with the recording as well as some additional resources, which will also give you an opportunity to subscribe to an email list, particularly for innovators and trainers. So if you never want to hear from us after that initial email, that's okay. But if you would like to stay in the loop, there will be some instructions there for you to continue to do so. So I am cognizant of some of the additional email or some of the additional questions that have come in, but also want to make sure that I am respectful of time. So if at any point you decide that you need to go ahead and log off, totally fine, but I will stay here until I've answered every question that y'all have. So if you've gotten what you need, thank you so much for joining us. If you still have a question, please feel free to stay. I will continue to answer those questions, and I'm happy to do so. So Aaron's question is, can you upload a pre-existing video, add content, and overlay within Submit? Currently, there are no editing capabilities within Submit, but we have heard that a lot of educators would like to see that. It is quite possible that we will be able to develop something similar to that. We would love to hear your feedback in the Submit Trello board and in the Groomable community so we can understand a little bit about how you would want to use it and what that might look like for you and your students. Hey, Lindsay, thanks for your question. Yes, I will send over more information via email. No need to sign up. I have your email address. So I'll send over just one email to y'all. And then again, you'll have the opportunity to either continue to receive emails from us or not. Totally understandable. Hey, Carolyn, good question. Yes, you guys will have free access even after COVID has ended, excuse me. I will go ahead and send more information about that in the email as well. We want you all to continue to use Screencastify. You will have free access. Hey, Tara. Yep. If you are open to receiving emails from us, we'll give you a little bit of a heads up before new features come out so that y'all get the opportunity to help out with your district and share with teachers who might be interested. Michael, fantastic question. We are COPA compliant. You can check that out on our website. And of course, if you have any questions about how we handle student data and privacy, I would 100% love to answer those questions for you. Hey, Brianne, good question. I am using a platform called Demio, which is not created by us, but something that we enjoy using. If you want any more information about it or just like kind of want to chat about it, happy to tell you about my experience. Not a commercial, just happen to be a user of the product. Aaron, the second way of offering feedback is on that Trello board where you can suggest new features. So if you just kind of want to share comments, the Google group or via email is one way to do that. But if you have specific requests that you'd like for the product, then you get the opportunity to put those on Trello where other educators can see them as well. Hey, Rose, yep, there will be a recording of this available. You'll get that in an email. Arlen, sorry that Dipio didn't work for you. I'll send out a recording of the webinar, and hopefully that works out for you as well. Karen, you may share with whoever you would like. Megan, yes, that is in the works for the editor. That is actually something that is under development right now, and we plan to allow text to appear at particular times. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure of the development date of when you'll be able to access that, but I can confidently say that it's in the pipeline. All right, I think I have answered everything. If I have not, I will also send out another call for questions in that email as well, and happy to converse with y'all there. Thank you again for joining us. I really, really appreciate y'all giving up 30 minutes of your time and being able to learn a little bit more about Screencastify and what we have coming in the pipeline. I will be sure to share an abundance of resources in the email follow-up that should answer the vast majority of these questions. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Neff. You can always send an email back when I email you. And please feel free to add me to your Rolodex. You can never send me too many emails, always here to help out. It was fantastic to meet y'all virtually. And I'm really, really looking forward to meeting y'all in person at some point. Thank you so much.